So I want to address an issue that has been raised many times to me in response to some things that I've posted here. Especially lately, I've been talking about what I think is the need. I don't really think we have another choice here to impeach and remove Donald Trump from office. And I invariably get people responding me by saying, yeah, we even if we were able to impeach and remove him from office, then we have JD Vance and he's even worse. You know, what about that? To me, this is a non-issue for a couple of reasons. First of all, if we were able to generate the kind of angry popular uprising it would take to put enough pressure on members of Congress to impeach and remove Donald Trump from office. Remember, I've said this many times. The only way this is going to happen is if we make members of Congress more afraid of us than they are of Donald Trump. So if we can generate the kind of angry popular uprising to put enough pressure on members of Congress that they are so afraid of us that they impeach and remove Donald Trump from office, and now we're left with JD Vance. JD Vance is going to be far too afraid to do anything himself. He'll just be happy to be president. I mean, he's not gonna try shit. That's number one. I mean, we would instill the fear of God in JD Vance and everyone else in the White House. They wouldn't be able to do anything. They'd be way too scared. That's number one. Number two, JD Vance is not Donald Trump. Nobody likes JD Vance. He was the most unpopular vice presidential candidate in history. Yes, the Trump cult would support him, but not in the way they support Donald Trump. Trump is a singular figure to these people. JD Vance would not be able to command the kind of personal loyalty from anybody the way that Donald Trump does from his cult. The cult would not necessarily, and they wouldn't transfer over to JD Vance as a cult. They might support him, but not like a mindless cult that worships JD Vance. And so for all kinds of reasons, he's unlikable. He cannot command the kind of worship and devotion from Trump's cult the way Trump does. And he'd be far too afraid that we would do to him the same thing we would have done to Donald Trump that made JD Vance president. So I'm not worried about JD Vance at all. And finally, look, first things first, okay? When your house is on fire, you put out the fire. You don't worry about, well, what about the water damage that we would cause by putting out the fire with all this water? Yeah, one problem at a time. Okay? Let's put out the fire, then we'll deal with the water damage, all right? Donald Trump is an existential threat to the country. Let's deal with him. Let's pressure Congress, impeach and remove Trump. Then we'll deal with JD Vance, who, if we ever got to that point, I don't think would be nearly the problem that many people obviously do. So those are my thoughts. JD Vance is a non-freaking issue as far as I'm concerned.